Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the author interaction session of Elegant Beloved. And we have had a little gap from previous author interaction, and now we are back with another author interaction and we have today Abhishek Sinha, the author of By Hook or Crook. So we are really excited to know more about your book, Abhishek. So, shall we get started? Are you ready for it?
Yes, quite excited and curious.
So yeah, Abhishek, rather than me going on speaking about you, I would like to know about you from yourself and a little bit brief about your book. So please go ahead.
Okay, so I am based out of Bangalore. I work as a corporate employee. I am a product manager in a fintech startup. So daytime I am writing user stories, evening time I am writing crime stories. So that's what life is these days. Uh, so by hook or by crook is the first creation. I never thought I'll ever start with a crime thriller because that is something which is the most difficult for me. At least back then, it used to be the most difficult for me to write because you have to close multiple different character arcs. You have to be logically sound. You can't leave any obvious gap because I am one of those readers or viewer of movies who keeps pinpointing towards loopholes. So I had to, if I am writing something, I had to be perfect at not leaving any loophole for that matter. So I never thought I'll ever start with a crime thriller, but uh, it was initially part of an anthology, four stories, all from different genres. One was romance, one was time travel story, then one was this one, and another contemporary story. So I had started that way. Back then, it was because writing a 50-page story is much more simpler. You had to just rush a few things without proper detailing. But then my literary agent suggested that why don't you convert this into a full length novel, and then you can keep the rest of the stories for subsequent works if at all you feel like. And that's when By Hook or By Crook turned into what it is today. A few more character introductions, the scenic details which took place, which was primarily the COVID time. When COVID had started, all of us were sitting at home. So that was the time when I started writing this story. And then it took me around 6 7 months to complete the story, another 2 3 months to just ensure that the loopholes part and the logical ending, everything is perfect that way. And from there on it started. Really humbled to see the feedback I've been getting. I mean, uh, I honestly I did not expect such a positive feedback because this is the first work, and I'm all pro getting critical feedback because that is what is going to improve me as an author. But there's hardly, I mean, there are few points which I have received and noted down, and I'll keep that in mind. But majorly, I have received only very humbling and encouraging feedback from people. So I'm quite excited to hear what the readers here have to say about the book.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you, Abhishek. Guys, those who are in the meet, you can ask questions, you can raise your hands, and I'll call out your names so that we maintain some kind of discipline. Okay, I'm a teacher. Okay, guys, please say hello mujhe. Okay, so beginning with, by the time you guys get ready with your question, I just want to ask you, Abhishek. Okay, when you were speaking, you said that the book, actually the story was a part of anthology, and then your literary agent told you that, okay, why don't you make it a single book, and then later stories can be considered afterwards. So literary agents are something which mostly new authors don't get hold of. It's very hard for them to find a good literary agent, trusty or trustworthy literary agent. It's so hard to get these days. And also literary agents are, they charge a lot. So how do you end up with an literary agent? How did you find it? I think people, or especially authors, new authors who are watching this recording, will find it so helpful if you can share how your journey was.
Yeah, sure. So, look, it never comes as the first resort that you have to find the agent route. Uh, Most of us, Mr. Chandran, are you trying to say something? Okay,
I just
I'll go.
tried muting him.
So
Yeah.
it's always, most of us just directly approach the publishers with some of our works, and then it either takes a lot of time or we get a lot of rejections, post which we start looking for alternatives. The best alternative for most of us is go via the self-publishing route, which I did not want to get into because it's a whole lot of effort for me. Number one, number two, I was very finicky about finding a traditional publisher because it serves as a validation for the story, right? I did not just want to put anything into the market through self-publishing mode. So uh, either I could wait for some time or I could take the agent route, because most of these publications, what they do is they usually prefer submissions through an agent, literary agent. And again, that's another level of validation if you are able to get a someone who is willing to represent your book. So that's how I approached few of the literary agents, and the quickest response, thankfully, I received was from Mr. Suhail Mathur, who runs the Book Bakers Literary Agency. uh, Initially, again, as you said, they charge a lot, so the pricing structure is a bit different here with book bakers. I've been recommending it personally to many of the authors who want to get into the market, primarily because not just because of the pricing structure being different, but because of the kind of support I've received from them. Because initially, everyone, all of us are a bit dicey, right? What kind of support am I gonna get if
Mm.
I'm paying, or if what is the level of trust I can put on this agency? What if they do something with my story? So all that is the bet you can take. You have to take a bet on someone, right? I took that bet on the book bakers agency, and thankfully it turned out to be amazing for me, because not just in representing my work to the publishers, but also guiding me throughout the journey. This is just one simple example that that Suhail requested me to convert this anthology into a full length novel. That's just one part of it. Throughout the journey, he made some recommendations into how can this story be more gripping, how can I make my presentation to publishers better. Even during these days when I am pro marketing, I'm all focusing on marketing of the book, he keeps calling and suggesting ideas whenever it comes to his mind. And mind you, we are talking about an agency which represented around 200 books in the last year itself. So being very busy, I fail to understand how he gets time to devote to the authors personally. But that's how it has been. It's been very blessed journey with the book bakers.
Awesome, awesome. Actually, I think it is the first time that I'm listening to someone who is narrating a happy experience from a literary agent.
Oh,
You
okay.
know,
No, no, I keep
you're really lucky, I
referring my.
guess.
Yeah, I just got lucky, I should say. There are a few questions I
Okay,
see
so
in
we
the
have
chat.
few questions in the chat box. Divya is asking, how are you marketing the book and how do you go about it?
Okay, look, currently this is the hardest part. So every time, every step you figure out in this journey, you feel that that is the hardest part. So initially, you come up with an idea, you convert it into a story, you feel that this is the hardest part, and after this, life will be sorted. And then you figure out that writing 200, 250, 300 pages itself is becoming difficult. And then the next step is to pitch it to publishers or take the agent route. So either way, get a credible logo in your bucket, and then you feel okay, after this life will be sorted. It's never gonna end, because the challenges keep getting bigger. Being out in the market, if you really want to reach readers, uh, profit is, I mean, we can't expect profit from the first book itself. Not many of us are Amish or Chetan Bhagats. But this is just an inception towards something broader. It's going to establish you as an author, it's going to fetch you real readers. So putting that genuine effort without any monetary gains in return, so currently the objective is only to get real readers, so that A, I get real feedback, B, these are the reader base, this is the reader base which is going to be my first resort with any subsequent story, right? So this is what being an author means. So in terms of how I am approaching it, uh, 2 3 ways currently. So initial first 6 months I was very gung-ho about just digital marketing on social media, on Amazon advertisements, etc. Recently I've started getting involved into book fairs, physical bookstores, because that's where you get real readers of the books. uh, Even giving them copies, complimentary copies if at all needed. So again, as I mentioned, profit is not an objective right now for me. It's more like getting real readers for the book and getting that feedback from the readers. So uh, again, book clubs is another aspect of getting involved with the real set of readers, right? And hence all of us are here. So different approach, but some of it might work, some of it might not work. Again, many of these things are coming as learnings to me also, which will help me subsequently in the second book or subsequent journey. Happy to have a detailed conversation on individual aspects with anyone who is interested in knowing the specifics.
Yeah, sure. Actually, I am so glad to see that you are not taking that monetary side seriously with your first book, because most of the authors, when I interact with them, they're like they have written a book and they feel ki okay, I have written a book for the world. Now the world has to take it over. Matlab, it's not like that. Okay, the world doesn't work that
So
way.
look, I think people are usually in different journeys, right? So for me, this is not my bread and butter. This is more like a passion project for me, which is just I have something, I just write it out for the people. If they like it, if they don't like it, I'll get that feedback. I'll tweak my writing style, be a better author. So again, it's not my bread and butter right now, and hence I can afford to do that. But many of them are full time into writing. I have interacted personally with many of those people also. So for them, again, they are coming from a different background, so probably the objectives are also different, right?
Exactly, that's true. You know, each person sees their journey of, I'm so sorry, journey of what to say, reading and marketing differently. Because most of the authors, successful authors, we find them, they they share their success stories. But how many of the authors actually share their hardships? That's very
Yeah,
less, right? And
true.
even if you take any author as an example who is now a best-selling author, if you ask them, if you talk to them, you will come to know they did not reach to this position all of a sudden. Very few have.
Yeah, yeah,
Very few have got lucky. Yes, exceptional cases are there. But in a market like Indian market of book is like diverse. It is like you have. I read somewhere that around 9 million books get published every year, and I guess 1 million are from India itself. Okay, every
yeah,
year, because we have authors from diverse background. Even romance books get sold and published so easily these days. Publishing has also become very easy, that you can self publish your book. So
yeah,
all
exactly.
these things add a lot. So yeah, Venkateshwari has a question. Yes, Venki, you can ask.
Thank you. So, no, a lot of readers they want to become authors. So, I'm also one person, and
Oh.
I wish I write a book someday in the future. So, I want to know how did you come up with this story, and especially how did you come up with the ending? So, I want to know about that.
uh So it's the other way around actually. I had an idea with a particular ending in mind, and that's where it all started. And then that, because crime thrillers usually the ending has to be perfect. So usually if I'm writing a contemporary story, I'll have a theme in mind and then I'll spin a story around it. But here I have to keep the ending in mind. Even the next work I am working on, which is again a crime thriller. Uh, so the ending gets fixated first, and then you create the setting, you create the characters. So it works different for this specific genre because that's where the real juice is, right? In terms of
Hmm.
how do you go about it, or how did I start writing stories? So again, I am a pro reader, fiction reader particularly, and a movie watcher also. I just love, I get myself indulged into that fictional world, and then I, something in my head just keeps pushing me, what would I have done it differently? So I clearly remember back when I was doing my undergrad in Delhi. There was an instance, I watched a particular movie. I don't recall the movie exactly, but then I did not like the ending particularly. And then I thought, how would I have done it differently? And that's when I started writing stories, short stories. It started with short stories. There is a collection which is unseen to everyone, so I just kept it for myself. And then eventually this particular one is when one of my friends pushed me to get it out to the market, and then motivated me to just uh, get more eyes on this, get more feedback, so that it keeps getting bigger. So that's when it started for me, and that's when I started writing a full length novel.
Awesome. Thank you, Venki, for the question. Now, moving on to the chat box, we have few questions there.
Yeah.
Piali asks that, again, I think she has asked a similar question. What motivated you to start writing this book? What was the exact push apart from COVID situation? I think you have answered it, right?
Yeah, yeah, and it wasn't during COVID. It was basically during my undergrad days when the curiosity that I did not get a proper closure from this movie let me think of alternate endings, which I have done, and then slowly it became a habit. I started documenting it, so that's when it started for me.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you. And thank you, Piali, for the question. Moving on to the next question. Alia asks, can you share a memorable experience or challenge you faced while writing the book?
While writing, I don't think while writing there was a challenge primarily because everything was pretty much in my head. The major part was to ensure that there are no loopholes, because readers like myself would pinpoint that particular loophole, and uh, I would not want to do that. So that way, in writing, I just had to reread the story twice, thrice, and it gets really boring when you're writing your own work, right? Because everything is pretty much clear in your head, and then you have to again get into the nitty gritties. And sure, you can't rush through. You have to just read
Hmm.
every word in detail, so it gets very boring at times. So that was the difficult part while writing. Memorable experience, I have had quite a lot of memorable experiences after the book got published. I think one of the readers here shared uh, so she had made a poster for the book, which I have been flaunting to all my friends, that look, this is what I have been
Uh-huh.
gaining.
I know.
Yeah, so that's one
Yeah.
of the things. Every day is a different day. There are highs and lows, and when you are at a particular low time, you wake up next day, you get a message from a friend that I really loved your book, can you recommend more books similar to this? That gives you a different kind of feeling. So all this is extremely, and I'm humbled to have those people supporting me unconditionally. So I mean, this is
So
what
I
I've gained
actually
from.
had a conversation with this person. She was like, "Bro, I did not like the book's cover, so I designed one by myself." And I was like, "Okay." So I'm going to post the review with that, and I was quite shocked. Oh my god, author has already published a book with his own cover, and she's going to publish it with something else. Review is coming up with something else. I was tensed. Then I asked her, "Please consult with the author," and she said, "No, author is all fine. Author se baat ho gayi. Author really liked my
Oh,
design." मैंने बोला, ठीक
I
है ओके
quite liked
फाइन
it. Yeah, yeah, I quite liked it. I've been showing it to all my friends, and then uh, very, very happy with, because someone just taking the effort to read the book is one thing, but then going a step beyond and designing a cover based on the theme, that's a different feel altogether.
exactly think how much effort they have put into it, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's what.
Okay, moving on to our questions. Harshita, I'll come back to you. Kshitij has asked, the ending of the book was unexpected. How did you come to it? Also, how did the idea of using lyrics of Everybody Knows hit you?
Oh, okay, yeah. So again, as I mentioned, this ending is something which, so for crime thrillers, fix the ending first. So let's say uh, there are two, three ideas. I don't know if I should be revealing those things, but the ending is what
No,
I fix.
no, market
Yeah,
secrets should always stay with you.
yeah. So, but I fix my endings first in crime thrillers. That okay? How is a murder going to be different? Just giving you a very plain example. I mean, all of us would have read or watched Sherlock Holmes stories, right? In some way or the other. So even there, the mystery is in how the crime was conducted, and then the story spins around that. How do you conceal certain facts and then reveal it towards the end, or reveal it mysteriously, or at some instances? So that's primarily how it goes for my book also. In terms of using the idea of everybody knows, oh, I don't know, that just kind of felt, because I don't know. I can't recall that, because it's something very relatable to what is happening in the story, right? Because everybody knows that the fight was fixed, everybody knows the good guys lost. uh, Again, reveals the gist of what the story is, and I, being very poetic in my head, I just relate to all the lyrics, Hindi or English, very deeply. So I keep reusing all the movie related stuff in my works.
Yeah, awesome. So we'll go with one more question and then I'll ask you a question which I have noted down. So Chandran sir is asking, question is it okay to write a small and compact story and publish it, or should every book has to be more than 109 pages to say at least?
No, it's, see, there is no hard rule. So ultimately, it's your story. You have to tell it in the way you feel perfect, right? Even if it's, let's say, 30, 40 page story, and I have quite a few of them, there are two ways you can do that. Either you can compile all of them, you can create a novella sorts for that, and then publish it. The other way is, but mind you, it's a bit difficult to get publishers for novellas in the market, and I'm just speaking the ground reality, because for a 30 to 40 page, or let's say a 50-page book, the unit economics might not justify for them to just take it up into publishing. So that the best way for that is to go via the Kindle direct publishing mode. We can speak at length if you need. The other ways, or if there are three, four of those stories, you what I did initially, you come up with an anthology, which is again, let's say if you have four stories which are 50 pages each, you have a book which is an anthology of 200 pages. Now you can get a publisher also, or you can get a literary agent also. But that's only given that you have those stories worth telling. So, having said that, there's no hard and fast rule in terms of what do you how long a book should be or a story should be. Ultimately, it's your story. You get to control everything, right?
Exactly. Thank you, Chandran sir, for the question. And okay, we have one more question. Are you self-published or do you study? Okay, so Sanjay, I think you missed the initial part of our discussion. Abhishek found his what is a literary journey blissful with a literary agent. Abhishek, can you just share their details?
Yeah, yeah. I'll just post their name. The Book Bakers is the name of the
Yeah.
agency,
So
and
what
Mr.
I
Shahid
had
and
in
Mathura.
my mind as a question was, actually it's not a question. I thought to have a healthy discussion upon this,
Okay.
because since I now by this time I would have interacted more than 25 authors now after the establishment of EBC, and I just don't speak to them for the GD purpose, but on a regular basis we have, I maintain contacts with authors because I like doing that, so that I get more insights and I can share the experience of the readers who are there in EBC. In EBC, when the discussion prompts are shared, when their personal experiences about books and reading are shared, that gives a lot of insight into the reader base, the reader psychodynamics actually. So once while I was talking to one such author, they were like very much, they said that they have money and they want to invest it into the book, but they want it to be bestseller. They want it to be, what to say, something like CB, Chetan Bhagat and Darjoy Datta, etc. And to be honest,
Mhm.
their book, I told them this directly, their book was an average book. It was just another love story, just
Okay.
another love story. There wasn't much of essence or any of at least twist should be there. And to be honest, Indian romance market has experimented with all the, I'm so sorry, all the kind of twists and turns and different climax. Everything has been experimented by the movies and the books. So it's very hard to get something new, which I totally understand her point. But the thing is, I always recommend authors that if you need to be established as an author, okay, you have to write a minimum of 3 books so that in the industry people get to know कि हाँ, Abhishek Sinha, oh, I think he has written a book, right? Just that kind of recognition is more than enough so that you actually stand on the pedestal and then you get a chair and then you sit and then you do things. That makes
Yeah.
a lot of sense to me. What do you think about that? About authors publishing and establishing their presence maximum in the initial years?
Look, I completely align with your thought on this, because I feel that even if I do this with my first book, or let's say if I go till my second book on this, it's not at all sustainable. I'm basically buying publicity for the book and not establish. I mean, might or might not establish myself as an author, but I'm not sure about the quality of the readers. See, as I mentioned in the very beginning, also for me, the critical feedback matters much more than anything else, because this being my first book, this is going to fetch me a lot of learnings uh, in the writing process, in the pitching process, in the marketing, everything, right? So I can't expect it to be perfect or a bestseller in the first go itself. Again, people might have different priorities. For me, this is not what defines me. I mean, there are multiple different things which I keep doing. Even if this was a failure, I would have kept a smiling face on top of it, because the objective for me was to get this book out in the market, get readers for it, not necessarily make it a bestseller, right? That was a very different objective. Even for the next couple of books, as you mentioned, at least 2 3 books I have to write and gauge the market in terms of what readers actually want, if I am able to cater to their needs, right? So that is something which, because that's more of a sustainable game. If I am, again, if I am talking in corporate terms, it's basically finding the product market fit. In a startup, we have seen startups which have received lots and lots of funding in the first year without even having a proper product in market, and then struggling in the later years, right? uh, there are examples which contradict that also, but there are also examples which align with this fact. So we are, what you and me are talking about is more of a startup like Zerodha, which is making revenue and playing a long term game, not having a short term vision here. So apologies for being corporate, using the corporate slangs, but I can't explain it in a better way.
No, actually, it is a game. You know, everything that you invest money in, books don't come up easily. You have to put money in it. And anything that you invest is a game. And it's not easy to gain the market. The market, you need to know, once an author told me that every time you publish a book, you become a new person. Because each book gives you a different experience. Sometimes you write
Exactly.
a very low profile kind of book and it gets clicked, people love it,
Yeah.
which you might
Yeah.
not like, but so a book that you have given your complete effort and just taken your days and nights, sometimes people don't even like whatever you have written. So each book is like a different experience, and by the publishing of each book you become a new person. That's what once an author shared with me. So guys, anything,
Exactly.
do you people have anything to ask? Else I have something to ask. Okay, I guess I'll go with my question. So this is something very basic, Abhishek. So it's nothing but how was, okay, you got a literary agent, and how was the editing journey of the book? How did it go? How many chapters did you cut off? How many words did you cut off? And how many chapters did you add? And in general, how was the editing experience for you? Because as readers, we find it so hard when badly edited, poorly edited manuscript comes in our hands and it's so bad to read. We feel like throwing the books at times, especially
Okay.
in the marketing scenario. We get books for free where we read them, okay, and at
Yeah.
times we get projects like 8 9 books piled up to complete, and when the book is poorly edited we feel so frustrated. And even I have read books, people here in the meet have read such books, I'm for sure. So how was your editing journey?
So look, there are two parts to editing. First is cutting short of the length, and then second is polishing what we have finally, right? I'll talk about the first part first. Look, when I get into writing zone, I just keep throwing words, because I just no constraints. I just keep writing, and just words keep coming out. So it becomes very lengthy. Currently, I think it's around 50% of what it initially was. Even Suhail had asked me to cut it down further to around. So currently it's what, 68,000 words. He had asked me to keep it between 50 to 50,000 words. Initially, it was 1,20,000 words, and then finally, I had to cut short. The character arc of Geeta ma'am is completely removed from this story, for which I also got some comments. But since that was not adding too much to the story, so I had to get rid of those. So that's how it was brought down to 66 or 67. I don't remember the exact count, but to that. And then for after that, I just prayed to Sohail ki Sohail, I can't cut it beyond this. Otherwise, I'll lose the essence of the story. I don't want to do that. And finally, we agreed upon, okay, let's go with this. In terms of polishing of the work, there were two levels, three actually. First is at my own level, which I don't think I did a great deal of justice for that, because there's only because I don't think I'm as skilled in that aspect. Sohail's team, before pitching it to the publishers, they did one level of editing, and then the publisher at their end, some minor adjustments they made. So that's how the final polishing was done. I have seen comments. There are few errors here and there, which we are going to fix it in the reprint version. Uh, but yeah, your point is very valid. We have seen it in the authors circle also, uh, and I have spoken to few of the editors also personally, who just they take names of the books, that you just go through this book, uh, and you see what I'm talking about. That's the best way, because show don't tell, right?
So yeah, myself being a manuscript editor, I know books that I have edited, and I know books that are poorly edited. Even I use examples when I talk to authors. We left one
Yeah.
question actually. Divya Subramanian, she is all up for marketing today. Today she has asked another question: how do you sell the book, and what about royalties? Okay, pesa, pesa, pesa. Come on,
Okay.
tell us.
Yeah.
I'm just
Okay. A
kidding.
couple
Okay,
of
please
things.
don't take it the other way.
No, no. See, it actually varies differently. Mine is a traditional publisher, so I get a very small share of the royalty, and that also varies geography wise. That also varies in terms of the version. I get, of course, a higher royalty on uh, ebooks than I do on paperbacks, because paperbacks incur some printing costs, some operational expenses. You would have seen ebooks are typically priced also lower. For us, the royalties are also higher for ebooks. There's no inventory management involved, so all that comes into picture. But this is specifically for a traditional publisher. Now there are two other models in the market. One is self-publishing, where you get the complete royalty. You get to choose the price. You get to market it the way you want to. So everything is on you, and you get complete 100% royalties in that model. Second is partnered publishing model, which many of these traditional publishers have sister arms, which also do some sort of partnered publishing, where you put in some expenses, the publisher incurs some expenses, and the royalties are split 50-50, 60-40, depending on what your agreement is. But mind you, for a debut author, it's very difficult to get even to two-digit royalties for the first book. So don't have high hopes, if at all. And that's when I'm setting the right expectations, when I'm saying the first book should not be out in the market with the mindset that you'll be getting profits.
Yeah, so we have another one question, that if you can share the book cover designed by Irina, you can share it in the Hook and Crook group actually after the meeting,
Yeah,
Abhishek, if you want.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So one more
Yeah.
question that I had in my mind is that
I think Mr. Sanjay is
when it
asking.
comes to
Okay.
okay, sorry, I left it. My question is, why did you not go for self publishing to
Oh,
get
okay. I
hundred
did
percent pure?
address this question, sir, in the beginning. Probably, I think you joined late. So the reason was I can't put in so much effort, and I was not even sure of the quality which I'll be getting from a from a self-publishing mode, and hence I wanted to go via traditional publishing route, because that more. So I firstly, I don't have to take care of copyright registration, of printing, warehousing, etc. Everything is done by the publisher. And number two, it also serves as a validation that okay, it's worth putting their money on. Someone else is willing to put their money, so it uh, has to be something, right? So those were my two reasons for I was very finicky about getting a traditional publisher. Not even I had a few contracts from partnered publishers also, some leading ones, but I did not want to put in any money just to get myself out into the market. My whole point I was, if I deserve it, someone will put their money and then publish my work. If I do, if nobody does, then the book does not deserve that fate. It was as simple as that for me. Who is your publisher? Mine is Petals Publisher. They are traditional publishers, smaller relatively. I think 8 9 years in the market, but really supportive that way.
Awesome. So I guess Sanjay, your query is clear. Coming back to the question that I had in my mind, once your
Mhm.
book is out, there is a theory. I don't know if I spoke about this in authors group, but I definitely spoke about it in the EBC main group, where I spoke about reader response theory and death of an author, where once the book is published, Roland Barthes says that once the book is published, then the author is dead, which means author's bio, what was the intention of author in writing such a work, or what did author mean by adding this particular thing in the story, doesn't matter. It is a reader who interprets the book, and reader has the complete freedom to interpret it, and there is no author superiority here. That's what Roland Barthes says. So when criticisms come, okay,
Yeah.
definitely there have been varied kind of criticisms that your book might have got. So when criticisms come, how do you deal with the good criticisms? I would ask, good things. Bad things, definitely you said that you're open to bad comments and negative comments, but you take what you need. That is called constructive criticism. But how do you
Yeah.
take the good criticism, and how do you think good criticism establishes a good relationship between the author in the process of making a book?
Look, I think the constructive criticism we talk about is what you typically mean by good criticism, right? Because I have, so just to highlight a few examples, for By Hook or By Crook, I have heard comments like the ending where the final revelation is made that seemed to be a bit rushed, or the first 20 pages are a little drag. So that's what, again, that was more of an intentional move by me, but now I know that that doesn't go well with everyone. So I can do one of the two things. I can either make peace with that part relating, being relatable for some of the masses, not with everyone, or I can take it as a feedback and then I can improvise and I can serve to everyone's needs. So there are always it's look, at the end of the day, you have to be very humble and you have to understand that people will have their interpretations differently, and it's not a represent, they are not commenting on who you as a person are, because many a times we make this mistake. We associate ourselves to that book so much that we feel that the person is criticizing us and not the work. So that sanity you need to maintain. You need to understand that they are just commenting on the book's quality and not you as a person. You can always make amendments to that book reprint version, or you can always come up with new stories. At the end of the day, you learned something, right? So I mean, it's all perspectives.
Exactly. Actually, what to say? When we have people who actually give us the right review or right criticism, and when we have on the other side people who give us a fake criticism, it's easy to recognize. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, yeah, true. We can, I think, deep in our mind we also know what points are we going to get criticized upon, right? Because something doesn't feel perfect
I
on
know
those
what I have
aspects.
written.
Yeah, exactly. Ultimately it's my code. So I was just giving this gyan to someone that you have you ever seen PV Sindhu play? When she plays, she owns the court. So I own this book, I know what I have written, right? So it's up to me how to take that feedback. Again, there are some valid points also I get, and then I agree to that wholeheartedly. uh, Again, in By Hook or By Crook also I got some feedback. Some of them I am going to work upon, some of them are, I mean, just live with it.
Get to be discovered, I guess. I
Yeah,
haven't read
exactly,
your
exactly.
book. I hope to read it someday, and hopefully I'll come up with something. I
Okay,
guess.
wow. Yeah.
So yeah, since we have few more minutes left, is there anything else that anybody else in the meet wants to ask to Abhishek? Else we are about to conclude our meeting today. Anybody wants to ask anything? Thanks a lot, people, for joining. And today, actually, I expected many people from EBC, but I find that there are so many non-EBCians here, even authors from other group. I think they are from Abhishek's contacts, right? You might have
Yes, yes,
shared it
yes.
somewhere.
I had shared the post in a few groups, so people have
Exactly,
joined from those groups.
exactly.
I think
So
these people should also just be part of the EBC community because of the kind of discussions which keep happening. I really appreciate the daily discussion prompts. Fail to contribute to many of them because of the hectic schedule, but I just keep wondering about those questions. In my head, I have responses to many of those. Might not be able to take out time to type out the responses for all of them, but really appreciate that.
thank you. So people, those who are new to this whole EBC community thing, I'll just take 2 minutes to describe the whole thing. Abhishek, can I?
Yeah, yeah, please.
Okay, so EBC is a community, is a readers community. It started off as a readers community in 2020, especially during the COVID time, and we started off with 10 readers, and now we have a community of around 200 plus readers. And by community, we mean not just the readers group. We have diverse groups in our community. Like we have a study group, we have a film group, we have authors group, we have readers group, we have a K drama lovers group. So it goes on. The list goes on. We have around 30-35 groups. So it's a community actually, which means to connect people over reading and other similar interests. So. Abhishek contacted me for his book and his book promotional work, and I suggested him that he could join the authors group, which is totally free. And in the authors group, we have discussion. Like every Monday, we post a prompt, a discussion prompt that will be related to authorship, which will be related to reading, criticism, and everything that we have discussed here mostly come up in the group some way or the other. And we have around 30 authors in that group where people share their opinions. So you get diverse perspectives about one particular thing, including marketing, and you are always open to ask questions, anything that is related to reading or that is related to marketing. You can definitely ask questions there, and we'll have people like Abhishek responding in it. So that's what EBC is about. And the readers team, what we do is we select a book for a month and we read it and we discuss it on Google Meet, as you see right now. And we record the session, we post it on our YouTube channel. That's what we usually do. So this month we have selected Kim Jeong by Chu Nam Jo, if I'm spelling it right. Right, Venki? That's the right. Yeah, okay. Chu Nam Jo. Okay, it's a very different novel, Korean novel, and I really loved it. It's a feminist novel actually. Last month we selected Days at the Morisaki Bookshop. It was a Japanese novel. So this time we chose something from Korea. Like this, we keep on changing our Botium. Botium is book of the month, and this month we have Kim Jeong. Along with that, we have Hook and Crook by Abhishek as Botium, and as a part of that program, we had this author interaction. I hope I'm clear. If there is any doubt, you can contact the above shared number. I'll give you a proper tour about EBC, and I'm the founder of EBC. My name is Kavya. Anything else, guys? You want to ask? Anything? Abhishek, would you like to share something?
Uh, So, couple of concluding remarks. One on your earlier comment that romance genre has been experimented with a lot, and everything, pretty much everything, has been played around with. I actually was planning to write my next book in romance genre because there are few ideas in mind. I don't know if it's going to click or not, but just to show that I don't have that criminal's mind, because of which I keep writing crime stories. I have lover boy mind also, and being a Shahrukh fan, that becomes my responsibility, right? So probably that is going to be the next one. Probably, I'm not sure yet. Second was I just wanted to thank you for keeping us also engaged and motivated within the community, because I don't think without your prompts I would have missed many of those nudges. I would have missed many of those prompts. So thank you so much for keeping the spirit alive.
Thank you, Abhishek. Thanks a lot. It means a lot to me because I am a student working, and I do a lot of stuff, and EBC is like my baby to me, just as Hook and Crook is to you. So it becomes a necessity for me to keep the community alive and young. So I hope I continue doing this, and I have more things planned for authors
Oh,
especially. Our birthday is coming. April is our birthday month, and I have few things
oh
planned
wow.
in my mind for EBC. I'm not sure how well it's going to be executed because we have limitations on our online platforms. But I try to make it the best, the with whatever we have. It's something like bricolage. You have whatever in your hand and you make it. So I'm trying my best, and definitely I'll be coming back to you for help for those ideas.
Always ready to help. And to other fellow authors also, see, it might get a bit daunting for me to respond on time, but I will definitely try to help to the best extent possible. I have been trying my best to extend my support, because I understand how difficult this journey can be and how overwhelming things can be when you are in the writing process, in the pitching process, or in the marketing process. So based on my experiences, I will definitely try and simplify things for you, so that you don't have to, at least some of it is reduced for you. So feel free to reach out anytime.
Yes, and thanks a lot to people who joined and readers of Hook and Crook. Would you like to share anything as a thanking note or something, Venki?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the discussion. I want to hear about everyone's opinion. I just finished it today because I was traveling last week. So I just finished it like at 4 o'clock. So I'm very eager to discuss about the book.
Awesome. And Kshitij, do we have you here? I love the starting, the way you captured the essence of the city and its people, left me eager to unravel the mysteries and secrets that undoubtedly lie within the pages ahead.
Oh,
Okay,
nice.
Sreshta is here. She is going to be the host of our GD.
Oh, okay,
I'm
wow.
yet to read. You have to read. You have to read Sreshta. And it was a beautiful book. Thank you, Kshitij. Thanks a lot. And yeah,
Thank
I
you so
guess
much.
pretty much everyone has responded. So thanks a lot, Abhishek, for choosing EBC, for trusting EBC, and I hope GD goes well this time. Okay, with your book. Looking forward
Yeah,
to it on probably
thank you so much.
24th, right? Not 24th, it's 23rd of February. So, guys,
Got it.
please don't miss the session. It's GD4 by Hook or Crook by Abhishek. Thanks a lot for joining. Bye, guys. Take
Thank you
care.
so much, everyone. Bye. Thanks a lot.